Nikki. So I've mentioned a couple times that I used to hang out at the Playboy Mansion, and I've seen a bunch of comments where people have asked me to do a full-on story time about it. So here you go. That's what this video is about. My time at the Playboy Mansion. So when I was in high school, there was a show on TV called The Girls Next Door, and I was obsessed with it. All my friends were obsessed with it. Any of you guys remember that show? It was about the three girlfriends who lived at the Playboy Mansion, Holly, Bridget, and Kendra. Kendra Wilkinson has a show on We now called Kendra on Top. So I was huge fans of these girls. I loved that show, and I ended up moving out to California to go to college. I went to school at FIDM, the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising. And I didn't make too many friends at college, except I did make friends with this girl who was very outgoing. Her name was Petra. And one day, I don't even know how the conversation came up, but I ended up saying I've always wanted to go to the Playboy Mansion. And Petra says, you know, that's so funny because I was actually just about to invite you to the Playboy Mansion. I'm like, what? You know, here I am out in LA, all these people have these connections, and coming from Minnesota, that's kind of like a big deal, you know, to be able to go to the Playboy Mansion. And my friend Petra, she was actually dating a guy at this time whose sister is a playmate. Is or was, I forget the correct terminology. Is it once a playmate, always a playmate? She wanted to invite me up on Sunday, so they used to do a thing at this mansion, at the Playboy Mansion called Sunday Fun Days, where a bunch of girls come and hang out. And the first step to going to Sunday Fun Day, is you have to submit pictures. So you actually have to be approved to be able to go to the mansion or not. So you have to send in a picture in a bikini, and it goes to this person who does the list to get into Sunday Fun Day. And I did that, and I ended up being approved. So Sunday comes around, I'm so excited. I'm going up to the Playboy Mansion with my friend Petra, and I went to her house first, and we drove over together. I was gonna stay the night at her house that night so that you know, I could have fun, night out in LA. I was living in Corona at the time. John and I were living in Corona. This is when he was going to college in Temecula and I was going to school in LA. Anyway, getting sidetracked. So we roll up to the Playboy Mansion, and I can't tell you how cool I felt. Because you go up to this little voice box thing and you talk to security. They have a camera on you and you say your name. So they're like, okay, name. Petra says her name and I go, Nikki Baker. And he goes, okay, welcome to the Playboy Mansion. And the gates open up. And we drive in and we come to, they have like this little roundabout thingy by the front door. We have no idea where to park. And we see this bright lime green convertible. So we're looking around, we don't know where we're supposed to park, and we get out and walk up to the driver of the lime green convertible. It's Pauly Shore. And I grew up watching Pauly Shore movies. I still love Pauly Shore movies. I think he's hilarious. So that was the first person we saw when we got up to the Playboy Mansion. And we're like, oh, excuse me, do you know where we're supposed to park? And he tells us that they have valet, and he introduces himself. He's like, hey, I'm Pauly. I can't do it, but he talks in real life exactly how he sounds in his movies. So Sunday Fun Day is kind of like a pool party, and then you get dinner and a movie. So I actually didn't know that I'd be allowed to come back. I thought that this was like a one-time thing for me, so I was gonna go all out and have fun. Walk into the pool, I get a drink, first things first, and then you just kind of lounge around, play volleyball. I used to jump on the trampoline. I would do a bunch of flips. I don't know if I can still do flips or not. And I loved the zoo. Oh my gosh, the zoo was probably my favorite part because I love animals so much. They had monkeys, they have storks, they had a stork that would walk around the property named Spot. And I'm gonna insert pictures into this video. Now warning, I don't think I look very cute in these pictures. This is when I used to dye my hair by myself. And I also thought that you were supposed to dye your eyebrows. So I would bleach my eyebrows along with my hair, and I was just walking around looking like I had no eyebrows. And I also had no idea how to pose for pictures at this time. So here's a picture of me with Spot the crane. I loved him. He was so cool. You could actually pet his head. And I know you used to be able to go into the cages with the monkeys, but they had stopped doing that. But they did have a bunch of parrots and cockatoos out that I really liked hanging out with. There was one cockatoo named Nana that was so funny. Like, she was just really nice. And one time I was holding her and she would stick her head down my shirt and pop up and go, ha, 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 ha. And she just did it a bunch of times over and over again. So during the pool party, they would have a catering staff that walked around with a menu and you could order things for lunch. And then they also had chips and guacamole out at all times. And oh my gosh, the mansion had the best guacamole. Oh, I remember how much I loved having their guacamole. Another question I always get is, well, did you meet Hugh Hefner? And of course I did. It was his house. He was always there, and he was really, really nice to people. I have nothing bad to say about the mansion in this video. I've seen some other Storytime videos where people were kind of bashing it, but I had a great time. Nothing scandalous. If anyone was coming into this video thinking there was gonna be some scandal, there's not. They were very respectful there. It was almost like a family type vibe once you got to know all the regulars. And, you know, it's not my thing to be naked. I didn't ever want to be in the magazine or anything like that. I'm very much to each their own. If someone else wants to do that, that's fine. But it wasn't my thing. I just enjoyed hanging out there. I thought it was cool. I got to hang out with celebrities, be at this fun mansion and have great food and see movies that were in theaters at the time. So after you hang out by the pool for the day, it's time to come inside and have a nice sit-down dinner. The mansion chefs cook this amazing meal and you kind of go around. It was usually, you know, buffet style, like they had a bunch of the food and you walked around and you took it, and then they'd have delicious desserts afterwards. I remember the food was amazing. And the first movie I saw at the Playboy Mansion Theater, so after dinner, everybody goes into their movie theater. You pick out spots. They had theater seating, chairs, and then a bunch of beanbag chairs in front. And I think you could get popcorn too. They had like a popcorn machine. But the first movie I saw there was Pelham 123 with John Travolta. And I was a little bit tipsy. I don't remember the movie exactly. Again, I thought that I wouldn't be able to come back. I thought that was just a one-time thing. So after the Playboy Mansion, my friend and I went back to her apartment because she lived downtown LA, and we ordered volcano sushi at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was just an awesome time. So when you go to the Playboy Mansion for the first time, they have someone who goes around and takes Polaroid pictures of everybody. And I guess, which I didn't know, after you leave, Hef goes through all these Polaroid pictures and he picks out who he wants to invite back next weekend. And I remember them taking a Polaroid picture of me, but I didn't know what it was for. I thought it was just for fun because they also had a mansion photographer who just went around taking pictures, and everyone said that Hef likes to make scrapbooks. And I remember that from the Girls Next Door show too. So they did, they always had a photographer that went around and took pictures of everybody. So anyway, like later in the week, Thursday or something like that, I end up getting a phone call. And I answer, and it's the person who does the list for the Playboy Mansion. And she goes, "Hello, Nicole, I was just calling because Hef wanted me to tell you that he would like to invite you back." And I was like, oh my gosh, I might have even said, "Oh, I didn't know I could come back." And she said, "Yes, we're gonna put you on the list and you're gonna be a Fun in the Sun girl, so you can come up any Sunday that you want. So that was pretty cool. I was able to go to the mansion each weekend if I wanted to. I didn't end up going each weekend because I lived so far away, but I did go. I went a bunch of times and I had some fun experiences. Unfortunately, John could never go. It's really hard to get guys into the mansion, but he was cool with me going. We have a very strong relationship, and he knew that I was having fun, and I got to meet a lot of interesting people, which I'll talk more about some other people that I met while I was at the mansion. So one weekend when I was up at the mansion, they were screening Kick-Ass, and Chris Mintz-Plasse, also the actor who plays McLovin in Superbad, was up there because he was in the movie Kick-Ass. And this was his first time ever at the Playboy Mansion. And I had already been there a few times, been hanging out, and this guy who got Chris Mintz into the Playboy Mansion, he was a regular there, he walks up to me and he introduces me to Chris Mintz-Plasse. I don't know, Plasse, and he asked me if I'll give him a tour of the mansion, which I said, sure, absolutely. So I gave him a tour, I walked him around, showed him the zoo and everything, and I talked to him quite a bit that day, and he was really nice, and he actually, you know, made a point to come say goodbye to me when he left. Like, he gave me a hug, said nice to meet you, that sort of thing. But funny story, like months later, I ended up seeing him at the Saddle Ranch, the bar restaurant John and I always love to hang out at. And I wanted to go say hi to him, and I wanted to say, hey, like, I'm the girl that gave you a tour of the Playboy Mansion, like, nice to see you again. And right when I walked up to him, I said hi, and he goes, sorry, I can't talk to fans, I really gotta go. And I was like, oh, okay. I just wanted to say, like, how's it going? I've met you before, but all right, you're very busy. I guess you don't recognize me. Which, I mean, why would he? But still. I did get invited to a lot of their special parties, like Halloween, 4th of July, and stuff like that, but I didn't really ever go because I wanted to be with John on holidays. But I did go to a Midsummer Night's Dream party once, and I'm really happy that I did that because that was supposed to be Half's biggest party, and it's cool to be able to have had that experience. So I went with my friend Danny, who was a regular at the mansion. If you watch our vlogs, you've actually seen him before. He's the one that gives us the private tour of Malibu Wine Safari. So I met Danny at the Playboy Mansion. Oh my gosh, the decorations were amazing. Like, it was just such a cool party. I met a lot of celebrities. The food, oh my gosh, the food was so good. Like, it was just a lot of fun, a great party. I met Buzz Aldrin, second man on the moon. I met him at the Midsummer Night's Dream party. Him and his wife were there. That was very cool. I met Chewy from Chelsea Lately, and then I saw a bunch of other people like Shayna Moakler, Kevin Connolly from Entourage, and Bill Maher, and then I'm sure, you know, a lot of other people too. I guess the closest scandalous thing that happened to me, which is not even really scandalous, is when I was there during Fun in the Sun, someone walked up to me and asked if I wanted to take a topless photo with Hef. Like, he was having a bunch of girls stand next to him and it would be in the magazine. And I just said, no, thank you. And they said, okay, no problem. And some other girls were willing to do it, but no, I just didn't want to, didn't feel comfortable with it, and they were cool with that. Who else did I meet at the mansion? Well, at the time, he was dating the Shannon twins, Christina and Carissa, and his now widow, rest in peace, Hugh Hefner, Crystal Hefner. So I met her. Claire Sinclair, she has a big show in Las Vegas now. I was there when Claire Sinclair went to the Playboy Mansion for the first time, and she was very sweet. She was so nice to everybody, and you know, she was just really wanted to make friends. She used to always say hi to me, just a really nice girl. Well, I think I'll end my story here. I can't really think of anything else to add at the moment. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment, Subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and always remember that I love you, and stay tuned for more videos. Mwah.